Hello friends, good morning and welcome to
Morning.
this conference of Industry 4.0 for aluminum industry, organized by Metal World, supported by ASM International and co-sponsored by Redcom. I welcome all the delegates, all the speakers and the panelists for this very important subject conference. Welcome everybody, and we would like to start the inauguration session of this important conference. We have with us three eminent personalities from the industry. We have with us Mr. Satish Pai, MD of Hindalco. Good morning and welcome, Mr. Satish Pai. And we would like to hear from you regarding your experiences and regarding your view on the Industry 4.0 and the aluminum industry. We would also welcome Mr. Abhijit Pati. Abhijit Pati is the CEO and Director of Balco. Welcome, Mr. Abhijit Pati. We would like to hear from you your views
Thank
on
you.
the Industry 4.0, especially in the backdrop of COVID, and how it has played. COVID has played, though COVID is a negative thing, but for Industry 4.0, maybe it has played some positive role to push the industry towards Industry 4.0. Maybe we would like to hear more from you on this subject. I would also welcome Mr. Sudhakar Bonde. Mr. Bonde is chairman of India chapter of ASM International, and they are doing a lot of work in the areas of materials and metals and composites like that. So welcome, Mr. Bonde. I would like to hear from you your views on the same. And as speaking on the subject, everybody knows that as we are all going towards digitization and digitalization, Industry 4.0 becomes a very important tool to reduce your cost, to increase your efficiency, and ultimately increase the productivity and the bottom line of your company, of your enterprise. So Industry 4.0 is going to play a very big role in the future to make Indian industry competitive in the world market. So, in today's whole session, today's whole conference, we would like to discuss various aspects of Industry 4.0, technicalities, their commercialities, some products are there, some case studies we are going to present. So, all in all, the whole day we are going to dedicate for understanding Industry 4.0 and its applications for aluminum sector. Having said this, now I would I would welcome and I would request Mr. Sudhakar Bonde to speak for a few minutes. Mr. Sudhakar Bonde, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Hari Om and good morning to everybody. Respected Sri Satish Pai, MD Hindalco, Sri Abhijit Patil, CEO and Director Balco, coordinators Sri Chandekar, dignitaries, panelists, speakers, attendees from industries, educational institutes, and my ASM member attendees. Today, we have the golden opportunity to listen to experts on Industry 4.0 revolution with relevance to aluminum sector along with case studies. As you know, James Watt observed power steam in tea kettle. By use of steam and water as power, machine working started in 18th century and Industry 1.0 came into existence.
Go on.
Mass production is specifically of this Industry 2.0, which started in 19th century. During Industry 3, use of computers gave rise to automation, which is called as Programmable Logic Control, PLC, a 20th century product. And now Industry 4.0 started in 2011 as Smart Factory during Hanover exhibition. It picked up the full speed after 2 years. Industry 4.0 is not only revolution, but a tsunami, which has arrived at our doorstep. It is challenge as well as opportunity. We have to make best use of this tsunami. This can give quality enhancement, increase production, shorter production cycle, giving rise to healthy balance sheet. Digital India concept we are already familiar with. We are enjoying the Digital India benefits. For example, 712 agricultural document, birth certificate, automated parking. Farmer can start his farm in the field remotely at odd hours in the night, Google Map, bill pay, etc. And these are the benefits we are already enjoying with the Google. Our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji welcome Industry 4.0 during World Economic Forum. Now, 4th International Center on Industry 4.0 is in India. As all of us understand, Industry 4.0 consists of mainly number of constituents like autonomous robotics, simulation, analytics, IoT, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, additive manufacturing, AM, popularly known as 3D printing, cyber security, augmented virtual reality. I wish grand success for this event, which is aluminum sector centric. However, same logic may be applied to other sectors also. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to share some information with the audience regarding ASM India chapter within 2 minutes. ASM International is the premier professional society of metallurgists, material scientists, technologists, educators, and students, with a membership of over 30,000 worldwide, and a century-old organization having headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio. It offers invaluable opportunities to interact and learn from fellow materials engineers across the globe. ASM offers excellent networking links and gives an instant access to wealth of information through information sharing network for anyone who works with metals, alloys, composites, ceramics, polymers, electronic materials, and so on. India chapter is one of the most vibrant chapters of ASM International, established in the year 1979 in Mumbai. He is continuously pursuing the mission of ASM of collecting and disseminating knowledge on materials and processes. This is being done through technical courses, seminars, meetings, conferences, exhibition, and so on. And the subject we are normally covering is additive manufacturing, metallurgy for non-metallurgists, solar cells, biomaterials, failure analysis, material heat treatment, welding, non-ferrous metal, exotic metal, thermal spraying, and the list is endless. Materials Camp is an idea mooted by ASM Education Foundation, is targeted to excite young minds, typically students of 11th and 12th standard, towards material science. Current membership of India chapter is about 250, which includes corporates having sustaining membership and individual membership from industries, research and educational institutes like BIRC, IIT, regional research laboratories, etc., giving a look of multidimensional professional body. We have various membership available, like sustaining member pricing. I appeal to all who are yet to enjoy the benefits of ASM membership, please get in touch with us and get benefited. I bring a lot of compliments from ASM India chapter for all of you. ASM India chapter acknowledges the efforts put in for this event by Metal World. Thank you all for your patience. Thank to Metal World for providing an opportunity to share my views. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bonde, and we welcome you to the conference and welcome ASM International to the conference on the board. Now I would request Mr. Satish Pai to make his speech. Mr. Satish Pai, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chandigarh, for inviting me to be a part of this very important topic and subject, Industry 4.0 for aluminium. I think that the aluminium industry started the digitalization process a number of years ago. And I think that in India, we, as an industry, and probably Hindalco, started in earnest about 2 years ago to take various steps towards first digitization and then digitalization, which is important. And I think that we have to differentiate the two, because the initial steps of trying to go from a paperless concept to digitize everything is normally the first step taken. Then you start to put in sensors, you start to create data, and then you start to put analytical tools. And then you start to use artificial intelligence, etc. And that is the normal process of the curve that you proceed. I think that, I wanted to highlight a few of the experiences and the challenges that Hindalco has faced in this Industry 4.0 implementation. When it comes to doing greenfield projects, then digitalization is very easy to do. When you are retrofitting an existing installation, then you face a lot of challenges. So whether it's our plants in Renukoot, Dahej, whether it is many of our rolling plants, which are about 30, 40 years old, then the whole concept of digitalization it has its own challenges. And I wanted to share with you some of them that we have experienced. The first and foremost is retrofitting technology to make your machines first able to transmit and give data of quality. Because manually you can't collect data and do Industry 4.0. And that, believe me, is quite challenging. If you try to take a plant like Renukoot and try to retrofit it with internet and sensors so that your whole OT system gets connected to your IT system, that is certainly quite a big challenge. It can be done, is what I would tell you, but it requires a lot of focus and a lot of investment to get that done. The second thing is that once you fit your shop floor up, you then need to do a massive training exercise. You cannot have just 4 or 5 engineers sitting in the office in Bombay or Bangalore looking at data. All your shop floor workers from now on need to be savvy with the data and the technology that you're retrofitting on the shop floor. So the second biggest challenge that industry will have, and that we have realized and are investing, is on a huge amount of digital training that you will have to do. Because the way you used to work, the processes that you follow, all will get changed. Now you will have data coming at you all the time. Decisions have to be taken on the shop floor quite fast. You can't wait for morning meetings to then take decisions. Decisions have to be taken in real time. So I think that the training of the shop floor workers will become very important. And the third thing we have realized is your organizational structure also needs to change to fit this new digital Industry 4.0 structure. So the different layers that you had on the shop floor, coming to the supervisor level, coming to your department head level, all these different layers you will find out very soon actually are not needed in this connected world. You will need to have empowered teams on the shop floor coming from different functionalities like maintenance, quality, operations, all who will have to be together on the shop floor taking decisions, because the data and the information will be available to you in real time. So these are some of the 3 very important learnings that Hindalco has seen, that you have to retrofit all your old shop floors. You have to do a massive training exercise, and then you have to reorganize the structures that which you operate. I think it's also important to say that all new people coming into the aluminum industry now will have to be computer and digital savvy. This will become a prime requisite, because more and more automation comes in, more and more decisions will have to be taken looking at analytics and computer screens and data. So I think the general level of background and education that is required on the shop floor also will go up. So these are just a few of the practical things that Hindalco has realized over the last 2 years as we have gone along this journey. I think that conferences like this are a good opportunity to share best practices as well as problems that companies face in the implementation, because I think that a lot of hurdles are there when you try to take a structure like we have in the Indian aluminum industry and bring it to Industry 4.0 level. But I think that conferences like this help to share the knowledge, bring in best practices, So I wish you all a very productive day and open and transparent discussions where we can all learn from each other so that we can bring the Indian aluminium industry to a world-class level. So with this, I thank you very much, and I hand it back to you, Mr. Chandekar.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pai, for your very articulate address, and it will definitely help the industry to go forward in the direction of Industry 4.0. Now, I would request Mr. Abhijit Pati to say a few words. Mr. Pati, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chandekar. I think greetings to everyone present, specifically Mr. Satish Pai, the Managing Director of Hindalco, Mr. Sudhakar Bonde, the Chairman, ASN International, and obviously Mr. D.A. Chandekar, who was kind enough to invite me for this, August gathering. It was a fantastic privilege, I must say, and I also, greetings to the eminent panelists, speakers, and the participants who are present over here. My name is Abhijit Pati. I am the CEO of Director of Bharat Aluminium Company. I have only seen one metal in my life and career for last 34 years. That's on the aluminium. So started my journey with the first aluminium producer in the country of Indian Aluminium Limited, long before. And today managing this entire, the business over here in Malkur, which was also a takeover company from a public sector way back in 1965, which was established. As you know that aluminium, nothing to really talk much because it's being infinitely recyclable and is prepared always as a green metal. That's the beauty of this metal, and it can be reused for the same purpose repeatedly and retain 100% of its properties during the recycling. And aluminium sector plays a very, very vital role in the national economy. And I must say that it is a sector of strategic importance to the country due to its role in the energy security, national defense. You can talk about aerospace, automobile, infrastructure, electricity transmission, so forth. So India, being a fourth largest coal reserve and the fifth largest bauxite reserve in the world, along with its unique geographical location, makes India a strategic location to become a major global low-cost aluminium producer hub. And I can tell you that this journey is on, and perhaps India will certainly reach its peak of producing this aluminium in the shortest possible time. And aluminium, not only as a strategic metal, but it's a key growth sector for India. And I must say it possesses a very huge potential to contribute as a wealth creator of the national economic growth. Its contribution towards government forex earnings in the form of export accounted nearly around 3.5 billion, which is something around 1.2% of the total export in 1960 and 7, and henceforth it has gone very high. Aluminium consumption in India, though it is low, I must say that everybody understands this is one of the lowest level of the per capita consumption, but I can pretty sure that India is catching up very fast with the developed countries of roughly around 11 kg, where the average 11 kg per capita is the consumption in the global average. India will also require some additional annual consumption of 16 million tons, as I understand and recall rightly. And obviously, it will be the second largest consumer in the world in absolute terms going forward. Even at low consumption, aluminium contributes roughly around 2% of the manufacturing GDP. That's very significant. The metal has got a very strategic and significant driver in overall economic growth of this country. And it is very challenging and exciting time for the business. As Mr. Chandekar was talking about, COVID is definitely a pandemic, but it has also given us good amount of learning. I think Mr. Pai has narrated very nicely and articulated very nicely about digitization and other processes. And I will also share a couple of things in my mind, what I have seen very closely, the pre-COVID and the post-COVID situation, how the things are becoming challenging and becoming learning time and again for the aluminium industry. Moving on, I think let us talk that it's a very exciting time for the business, as consumption of the industry uses nearly 25% of the world total production of aluminium. Aluminium has a very important characteristic features which makes it preferential in the builder choice. As you know, friends, the aluminium has many advantages over copper, and I think it is also progressing very well when it throwing up a lot of competitive disadvantage advantage over the other metals. And I am pretty sure that aluminium is replacing copper wearing in vehicles also, thus reducing the weight of the cars by nearly around 12 kg on an average. So these are very significant numbers. And the purpose of narrating these numbers, that how much significance this metal poses, is something which is very important. I think we need to also understand that the rise in Indian smelter metal cost, which is, and one factor we must understand, what is the hindrance today for the aluminium growth. The biggest hindrance is the power being the most cost critical issue of the aluminium industry, which is accounting for something around 30 to 40% of their cost of production. And coal subsidized in China, natural gas subsidized in Russia, and subsidized power in the Middle East. This poses a very significant threat when it comes to the power cost. And there is significant difference between our production of the power cost in aluminium vis-a-vis the other countries. Rise in the Indian aluminium smelter cost, also around 73% rise between 2003 to 2020, has exceeded the rise in the LME prices, and mainly driven by the higher power cost. Apart from higher power costs, additional burden in the form of the renewable purchase obligation, RPOs, different taxes and duties, which are also making little amount of disadvantageous position so far as this metal is concerned. So some of the issue which comes in my mind, and I am pretty sure this particular session will also discuss in the due course of time when we talk about the aluminium 4.0. I think we need to also discuss that how environmental clearance, forest clearances can also be smoothened out so that it can also support the fundamental growth of the primary metal. It also must talk about, I'm pretty sure some of the speakers will also bring the logistic, and I'm pretty sure, I'm absolutely delighted to put over here, Hindalco has made a major contribution so far as the logistical cost, the controls are concerned. I think under the regis and the leadership of Mr. Pai, it's a very, very significant move which Hindalco has taken. And I must say that this particular infrastructure and logistics will also play a significant role when it comes to the overall growth of this particular metal. And I must also say that increased cost of the transportation of alumina and bauxite is predominantly giving a lot of disadvantage in the overall profitability and the balance sheet of this particular metal. Apart from that, Indian railways are also need to really come out and with significant amount of the support for making more amount of the rake availability and others. And also obviously the railway connectivity needs a significant amount of the boost. So what I understand clearly, very clearly, that three things I have learned in the industry in the COVID situation. There are good amount of structural reform which has happened, whether it is in coal, whether it is other commodity. And I wish that this particular methodology, this particular segment will continue to get the due importance and the focus from the government, and they will continue to give those kind of structural advantages to this metal. The second thing which has come, as Mr. Pai was talking about digitization, I have seen there is a significant opportunity which has come in COVID situation, where many industries started defining a new norm of the productivity. I think we have seen that how these particular facilities can be managed with 70% of our total productive, the norms. So I think every industry, and I'm pretty sure today the Balco, whether it is Vedanta Aluminium or Balco, we have re-engineered our working methodology. And that working methodology given us a significant amount of boost when it comes to the productivity improvement of the aluminium. I'm pretty sure some of the numbers people must understand. Today the global productivity norms for an aluminium smelting is in the tune of around 355 to 360 tons per man year. But in average Indian productivity norms are around 240 to 250. So there are significant opportunity which, and I'm pretty sure different type of speaker will bring this dimension very clearly. Second thing which has happened is that our review mechanism, our way of conducting our business has got a new learning. So we have seen that how we have formed the war room, how we have formed the critical, the task force, how even through the online with digitization and as well as the lot of technological support, we are able to redefine our workplace. We are able to make our workplace more, technical visibility as well as other things. And third important part, which I have been always talking in different forums for last many years, India as a country need to focus on to the applicability of aluminium. Because as you know, globally there are 3,000 applications of aluminium. And in a country like us, which is causing for a huge growth in the aluminium, is only creating 300 applications. So 10 times opportunity remain in our country so far as applications of aluminium is concerned. And I am pretty sure the government must focus this particular area. The aluminium 4.0 will bring a lot of good things so far as innovations are concerned, lot of good things so far as the new application of aluminium are concerned. And this can only be done if all the primary as well as the secondary aluminium producer, they join hand together and create a center of excellence for the applications. I think this is the critical factor which must contribute to the overall economy as well as the aluminium growth of the country. The way today the company is defined and bound to spend around 2% of the profit to the CSR, I think time has come with the government support. There should be some mandatory expenditure by every aluminium producer, whether it is primary or secondary, to create an R&D climate in our country. Because unless and otherwise research and development climate in aluminium 4.0 is properly created, the applications will never get boosted and thereby the consumption will continue to suffer. So thank you. I think I will not take much of your time. My heartfelt thanks for this entire the workshop. The National Aluminium Policy need to focus on a holistic short-term and medium and long-term vision of identifying growth target of the demand augmentation and the capacity addition of aluminium. And I am pretty sure National Aluminium Policy must address the issue that have been constant domestic industry productivity and capacity augmentation. So I'm pretty sure that many speakers will come out with a lot of new thoughts. Many speakers will talk about many new learning in the system, and it will be a great, the networking and the idea generation and exchange, and we will all get benefited out of that. Once again, thank you very much for providing this platform for sharing certain views on aluminium 4.0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pati, for your well researched and all-encompassing speech, I would say. You have touched upon the subjects like National Aluminium Policy also, and touched upon the subject of importance of Industry 4.0 and how we are going to go ahead in this direction. So this brings us to the end of this session. I would again like to thank all the dignitaries, Mr. Sudhakar Bonde from ASM International, Mr. Satish Pai, MD of Hindalco Industries, Mr. Abhijit Pati, CEO and Director of Balco. All the three have made very remarkable speeches, and that has really set the tone of this conference, I would say. And we are also looking forward to very, very intense discussions, debates, and presentations during the day. And I once again thank everybody, thank the delegates also for being with us in this session. And we'll have a short break of 5 minutes, and then we'll start with the next session, which is the panel discussion. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.